We're sitting in this restaurant, and my sister's got two young kids, and they're just great, and we're having a ball. And this elderly couple, Florida, it's a lot of old people. And despite all the old people, by the way, the second oldest populace in the United States, their mortality numbers are way down, even though they kept everything open, although mainstream media doesn't seem to want to talk about that. Anyway, there's a lot of old people in Florida. There's a lot of old people having dinner. This very elderly couple, I would say these two were probably between 85 and 90. They come up to the table and they're telling, oh, the kids are so great. That's so great. You're on vacation. Where are you from? Blah, blah, blah. And the woman points to my nephew, and she's standing right behind me. She starts pointing to my nephew and says, oh, you're so cute. And as she's saying it, I turn around and she stuck her finger like right in my mouth. And like, this was an old woman. She couldn't move very quick. And I was and she like literally got and all over, saliva dripping all over her finger. You know, there wasn't much taste to it. She was very old. There wasn't like a lot of juice or anything on the finger. Anyway, I just thought it was hilarious that I end up, not only do I go to a restaurant in Florida, I had the Parmesan crusted sea bass, quite delicious, by the way, although I ate mostly grouper throughout the week. But not only did I go to a restaurant, I survived, but then an elderly woman actually stuck her finger in my mouth. And guess what? Everybody's okay. As far as I know, she's okay. I didn't trade numbers with her, but I think she's okay.
That is the flaw of liberalism. I sent a long Twitter thread about this about 2 weeks ago, that liberals tend to think that everything can be decided by logic and reason alone. This, by the way, was very much a point that Jordan Peterson and Sam Harris had those live debates about, where they were basically, Sam was taking the position that the human mind and logic and reason are sort of enough to organize society. And Jordan's argument was there is something beneath that. In this case, his belief was that these were religious stories, that there are eternal truths. I have come to believe that, man. I wrote about it in the book. I think that liberalism in and of itself is not enough. Just logic and reason is not the driver of societies. Yes, it might be the driver of you as the individual, but it is not the ultimate organizing factor. It is a factor, not the factor. So I would say when you constantly, no matter how much the enemy is attacking, if your argument is, oh, but if we just reason with them, and I think a lot of liberals really struggle with this, right? They come from Harvard. They come from these places of higher education that in many ways are no longer anything close to that. When they're confronted with it, it's such an affront to their worldview that logic and reason and science and math are all the things that you need. And I think there's something else that you need. I think that there is a bedrock of truth beneath us. I think our founders understood that, which is why we have God-given rights. They didn't give us the rights. The government did not make me free. God made me free. And we can have all sorts of debates about what that means, what the definition of God is and all of that. And believe me, I saw Jordan get asked this question a million times. But I think that has led liberalism into the sort of dead end that it feels that it's in right now. And it's why they have no moves against the woke.
Something happened. What happened to the JFK liberal? What happened to ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country? I mean, really think about that statement. JFK, who was a liberal Democrat, although he did want to get out of wars, which is now not something Democrats want to do, and he also did want to reduce taxes, which is certainly not something Democrats today want to do. But ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. That is 180 degrees absolute opposite of what Bernie and all of the Democrats, including Joe Biden, say now. They say, oh, we can give you this. We will give you this for free. We will artificially raise this wage. You will get free education. You will get free health care. And that's the reverse of actually what true liberalism is. So for me, it's sort of a debate on, do I want to keep trying to save the word liberalism and show people that classical liberals are actually modern conservatives? Or do I just want to say, hey, I'm a conservative now? That's more of a semantic argument. But no, liberals were not always like this. The woke totalitarian progressive ideology that has now destroyed almost all of our cultural institutions, our educational institutions, certainly our political institutions, that is a relatively new phenomenon that was brewing at the academic level, and then it just burst forth into society.